Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajadana Randana Yashodanandana Vrajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanatari Jamuna Tira Vanatari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajadana Randana Yashodanandana Vrajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanatari Jamuna Tira Vanatari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Jai Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe. Jai Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe. Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Gaur Pimanande Daim Vishupad Paramahamsa Privrajagachajasto Tarasatta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Sirabai Charan Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandi Biti Founder His Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhaktivedanta Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Janitai Gauda Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksurandilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Dharam Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Maha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Sarabhyai Namaha, Om Sarabhyai Namaha, Om Sarabhyai Namaha, Mukam karoti vasaram pangom langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class, continuing from the first canto, chapter 3, entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnations, and today's text is 33? You sure, huh? Yes, okay. 33. Yatre me sad asad rupe pratishidhe swa samvida avidyayat mani krite iti tad brahma darshanam yatre me sadasad rupe pratishidhe swasamvida avidyayat mani krite iti tad brahmadarshanam yatre me sadasad rupe pratishidhe swasambida avidyayat mani krite iti tad brahmadarshanam yatre me sadasad rupe pratishidhe swasambida avidyayat mani krite ite tad brahmadarshanam
Yatra me sadasad rupe pratisiddhe swam samvida
avidyayat mani krite
iti tad brahmadarshanam
yatre me sad asad rupe pratisiddhe swasambida avidyayat mani krite iti tad brahmadarshanam yatre me sad asad rupe pratisiddhe swasambida avidyayat mani krite iti tad brahmadarshanam yatre me sad asad rupe pratisiddhe swasambida avidyayatmani krite iti tad brahmadarshanam.
यत्रे मे सदसद्रूपे
Yatre sadasadrupe
प्रतिषिद्धे स्वसंविदा
pratishidhe swasambhida
अविद्ययात्मनि कृते
avidyayatmani krite
इति तद्ब्रह्मदर्शनम्
iti tad brahmadarshanam.
यत्रे मे सदसद्रूपे
Yatre me sadasadrupe
प्रतिषिद्धे स्वसंविदा
pratishidhe swasambhida
अविद्ययात्मनि कृते
avidyayatmani krite
इति तद्ब्रह्मदर्शनम्
iti tad brahmadarshanam. Yatre me sadasadrupe pratishidhe swasambhida avidyayatmani krite iti tad brahmadarshanam. Yatra
यत्र
whenever
whenever
ime
we may
in all these
in all these
sat asat
sat asat
gross and subtle
gross and subtle
rupe
rupe
in the forms of
in the forms of
pratishidhe
pratisiddhe
on being nullified swasambhida
swasambhida
by self-realization
by self-realization
avidyaya
avidyaya
by ignorance
by ignorance
atmani
atmani
in the self
in the self
krite
krute
having been imposed
having been imposed
iti
iti
thus
thus
tat
tat
that is
that is
brahmadarshanam
brahmadarshanam
the process of seeing the absolute.
the process of seeing absolute.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
Whenever a person experiences by self-realization that both the gross and subtle bodies have nothing to do with the pure self, at that time he sees himself as well as the Lord. Kindly repeat after me. Whenever a person experiences
Whenever a person experiences
by self-realization
by self-realization
that both the gross and subtle bodies
the both gross and the subtle body
have nothing to do
have nothing to do
with the pure self,
with the pure self.
at that time
At that time,
he sees himself
he sees himself
as well as the Lord.
as well as the Lord.
Purport. The difference between self-realization and material illusion is to know that the temporary or illusory impositions of material energy in the shape of gross and subtle bodies are superficial coverings of the self. The coverings take place due to ignorance. We have to get some Bengali bhagavatam. He has Bengali bhagavatam. Ada, you can find for him maybe. It's online. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like yeah. Okay. The coverings take place due to ignorance. Such coverings are never effective in the person of the personality of Godhead. Knowing this convincingly with conviction is called liberation or seeing the absolute. This means that perfect self-realization is made possible by adoption of godly or spiritual life. Self-realization means becoming indifferent to the needs of the gross and subtle bodies and becoming serious about the activities of the self. The impetus for activities is generally from the self, but such activities become illusory due to ignorance of the real position of the self. By ignorance, self-interest is calculated in terms of the gross and subtle bodies, and therefore a whole set of activities is spoiled, life after life. When, however, one meets the self by proper culture, the activities of the self begin. Therefore, a man who is engaged in the activities of the self is called Jivan Mukta, or a liberated person, even in the conditional existence. This perfect stage of self-realization is attained not by artificial means, but under the lotus feet of the Lord, who is always transcendental. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that He is present in everyone's heart, and from Him only all knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness take place. Sarvasya chaham ridi sanivisto mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. That verse. When the living being desires to be an enjoyer of material energy, illusory phenomena, the Lord covers the living being in the mystery of forgetfulness. Very nice. The mystery of forgetfulness. What is the mystery of forgetfulness? Maya. Maya. And thus the living being misinterprets the gross body and subtle mind to be his own self. And by culture of transcendental knowledge, when the living being prays to the Lord for deliverance from the clutches of forgetfulness, the Lord, by His causeless mercy, removes the living being's illusory curtain, and thus he realizes his own self. He then engages himself in the service of the Lord in his eternal constitutional position, becoming liberated from the conditioned life. All this is executed by the Lord, either through His external potency or directly by His internal potency. Very important text and very important purport. Here's a translation again. Whenever a person experiences by self-realization that both gross and subtle bodies have nothing to do with the pure self, at that time he sees himself as well as the Lord. So self-realization means two things. Self-realization means seeing ourself as jiva and simultaneously seeing the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with whom we are meant to have an eternal loving relationship. Yeah. So this Prabhupada uses very interesting words. Yeah. like the mystery of forgetfulness. This is just like we are here sitting in front of the Krishna Balaram temple. We could be at home sleeping. It is much easier to just stay in bed and not get up for Mangalarti. But because we have some little understanding that there's something else in life than just eating and sleeping, that this body is a constant source of problems, miseries, adhyatmic, adibautic, adidaivik, klesh. and that, as mentioned here, actually we don't actually need this body. We don't need our gross body. We don't need our subtle body. Rather, when the more we identify with our gross body and our subtle body, the more we are influenced in meeting the needs of the gross body and subtle body, then the more difficult it is to actually understand and realize our real self, our real nature, which is spiritual nature. So therefore, the whole Vedic culture, the word culture is mentioned a few times in the purport. Krishna consciousness is also called Krishna culture, isn't it? And where does Krishna culture begin with? Actually, at the end of the purport, Prabhupada mentions that all of this whole process to understand the real self and the original self. The real self means the Atma, the original self means the Paramatma or Krishna. All of this is executed by the Lord either through his external potency or directly by the internal potency. So, for most people, beginning to understand our original culture, for most people, it actually begins with agriculture. There's a link. There's a very important link actually between our original spiritual culture and what is known as, that's another form of culture, agriculture. Agriculture. Vedic culture is agri. It's called agrarian culture. It is the beginning of awakening, the beginning of understanding our original spiritual culture. In other words, we are meant to utilize Krishna's external energy. Agriculture has to do with land, cow's land, isn't it? Cow's land and cultivation. Again, the word culture is there. Cultivation of knowledge. Cows, land, and knowledge are the three pillars, the three, you could say, foundational pillars for Vedic culture. Because all three are absolutely essential to meet our material as well as our spiritual needs. And therefore, the ideal society is that society which is having a very deep understanding of the importance of cows, land, and knowledge. Knowledge on the spirit, on the material level, and knowledge on the spiritual level. This theme is a central theme that we are especially presenting in Varnashram College. Discourses. There is one of the courses actually will be called, just like we have Bhakti Shastri. In ISKCON, Bhakti Shastri, everyone knows. How many have taken Bhakti Shastri? That's it. Okay, Bhakti Shastri. So, with Bhakti Shastri, of course, is in many ways preliminary. There's another course that we will be introducing. It is called Dharma Shastri. Dharma Shastri. Bhakti Shastri is specialized in many ways for in relation to the internal potency, in relation to what is called spiritual Swadharma. But when we speak of Dharma Shastri means knowing and understanding these two dimensions of Dharma, the material dimension of Dharma, which is unavoidably connected with Varnashrama Dharma. And the science or the knowledge of Dharma, Dharma Shastri means knowledgeable, Shastra, based on Shastra, connected with Shastra. Needs to include these two dimensions. Just like Vedas, actually, Vedas are divided into Shruti and Smriti. Shruti especially concerned with the spiritual dimension, whereas the Smriti Shastra, they deal with what is called the Dharma Shastras, is known as the Dharma Shastras, that deal with our material situation, society, and all the different, like agriculture. Agriculture is misunderstood in modern day society. Modern day society, because of being disconnected with Shastra, being disconnected with proper culture. Actually, modern society, modern way of thinking, modern educators, modern scientists, they are simply concerned with the gross and the subtle level, which is described here as being totally illusory, ignorance, avidya. So there is, in the Shastra, there's two levels of vidya. What is it called? One is called Paravidya, and one is called Aparavidya. Shruti Shastra is called Paravidya. Smriti Shastra is called Aparavidya. And modern education is called Avidya. Why study avidya? All knowledge that is disconnected with Krishna is avidya. Practically speaking, all the curriculum that is, yeah, that makes part, or that is making up modern education from the primary level to the secondary and tertiary level. It is avidya, because there is no connection. It is keeping students more and more, it is training them actually to be more and more conscious of avidya, of ignorance. It is systematically teaching them how to become more and more ignorant. Because the more we identify with the body, with the mind, the intelligence, material mind, material intelligence, the more we become conditioned, the more we become attached, the more we promote activities of sense gratification, the more we become conditioned, the more we become under the clutches of Maya, and the more difficult it is to actually take to spiritual life. The more we develop modern day science based on technology, the more difficult it is actually to understand about spiritual life. The more we use our cell phones, actually, yeah, because cell phones are interactive. Nowadays, it's like the attention span of most people is very short, isn't it? That's why they have, usually the TED Talks are within 20 minutes. Anything after 20 minutes, you lose your audience. You know, they're constantly flashing, tick, 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 tick. Yeah, otherwise the audience is like the mind just. So therefore, it's difficult to give bhagavatam class and keep the audience focused. So, yes, so cultivation of knowledge is actually we call it the forte. Forte means the strong point. The special feature of Vedic culture is cultivation of knowledge. And cultivation of knowledge is not only knowledge on the spiritual level, but also brahmanas, something that we don't quite understand in general, I would say within our ISKCON society, that the brahmanas' responsibility is not only to teach about spiritual subject matters, but also to give proper direction, just like coming back to agriculture. Actual brahmana will know what is the proper way of doing agriculture and what is the improper way. Actual brahmana will understand what is Daiva Varnasrama as opposed to what is Asuric Varnasrama. Yeah. We cannot avoid actually, because everyone is influenced and directed by the gunas, by the modes of material nature. So Brahmanas, Prabhupada's primary program was to actually create a class of Brahmanas. So these Brahmanas, to actually become qualified, they need to introduce, of course, according to Kala Desha Patra, time, place, and circumstance, knowledge that is primary knowledge, we could say, which is spiritual transcendental knowledge, and also secondary knowledge about matter, material world, which is helpful, which is needed. for arranging our lives in such a way that more easily we can progress and advance in spiritual life. So this is only possible, all of this is only possible if we create a situation that is favorable. Of course, like temple is most important because every day we should be connected with temple activities. But not only temple activities, usually for most people, especially those who are not brahmanas, temple activities especially for brahmanas. But most people, they will only come for darshan. Then they have to, most people are householders and have some occupation. But modern day society, of course, we have occupations that are not ideal, that are not conducive, that are not related actually to the Vedic, what is meant to be standard of life, which is this whole topic actually, prescribed duties. Most of us, we have forgotten what our prescribed duties are. We have prescribed duties on the spiritual level and we have prescribed duties on the material level. And if there is a mismatch, then both the material side is a problem and then the spiritual side also. You see. So Vedic culture, Vedic knowledge, Vedic literature, Shastra is teaching us, helping us how to balance these two levels, how to balance the spiritual and the material, so that we can meet our basic necessities. But of course, here it's mentioned that Vedic culture especially teaches us to minimize our material needs, material necessities, and to know that actually, ultimately, it is not just like the Goswamis of Vrindavan. They were totally absorbed, of course, in spiritual, transcendental activities. They were self-realized. So they minimized to the maximum. I mean, Prabhupada would say that at most they would sleep for 1 hour. Sometimes they would forget to sleep. How many of us forget to sleep? Did you ever forget to sleep? I think none of us can recollect when it is that that day I forgot to sleep. Nobody forgets to sleep. But the Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were so absorbed in writing and discussing, they were totally off the bodily platform. So this very nice instruction, nice purport. Any thoughts, comments? In everyone's body, there are different forms of God.
I have heard earlier, so I'm asking how to know which form of God's form is there in our body.
I have not heard about this. I don't know where you.
If we need to get moksha, we should know which form of God is there in our heart.
I don't know where you read this. Where did you read this?
My father told, and he had heard in some lecture.
Понимаю, наверное. Есть такое, что учитель говорит, какое у тебя божество, это, и ты на него
Is he asking a different question?
No. He's trying to explain. Maybe he heard something similar, like each disciple, like a guru, gives forms of the deity which whom disciples should to pray. Maybe it's
may be connected. Actually,
In everyone's body, one form, same form of God is
no, no,
there.
in everyone's body, we know from Bhagavad Gita that there is Paramatma. Paramatma is the Chitta Guru. He is the inside. There's Chitta Guru, and then there's within the body. And it is not that every body has a different form of God. I've never heard this. I've never read this. But
Like
every soul has a particular relationship with Krishna.
somebody likes Narsimha, somebody likes Varaha, and somebody likes Krishna, Vishnu. So everyone doesn't like Narsimha Deva. So his inner form.
That is what is standard knowledge that is in the Shastra is that we all have, yes, we may be attracted to some particular form of God, and we may, like some people are attracted to worshipping Hanumanji, or some persons are attracted to worship Lord Ramachandra. So that is one thing, but that doesn't mean that that particular form is in the body. What is standard in terms of spiritual life is that we have, all of us as eternal spirit souls, a particular relationship with Krishna. We have a particular relationship with Krishna. This is standard, right? Now we may have some attraction to worshiping Lord Nrsingadev, but we should know that Lord Nrsingadev is an incarnation of Krishna, isn't it? So we may worship Krishna in his feature as Nrsingadev, who is especially protecting his devotees. Every incarnation has some particular aspect or feature that we may be kind of identifying with. But to say that in the body there's a different incarnation or form of God, I've not read that. If you can give me some reference, you get reference from your father.
I think that Madhvas, my father,
Yeah,
he gives more.
yeah. His father actually is from Madhva Sampradaya, and he took initiation within our Gaudiya Sampradaya. No. Yeah, your father is connected with Madhva Sampradaya, no? Yes.
Our land's owner, Srinivas Prabhu.
Yeah.
He told he likes that.
He likes
Madhva Sampradaya, I think.
Yeah. No. There are 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, and when you get into details, there are some differences. Yeah. We are primarily focused on the Gaudiya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And we especially, the special feature of our Sampradaya, of the Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, as revealed, as given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is especially in terms of Radha and Krishna, isn't it? It is in relation to Goloka, Goloka Vrindavan. It is in relation to simultaneously Krishna Lila and Goda Lila. So that is our main focus, and we can we can know about other aspects in other, let's say, Vaishnava Sampradayas. And even as you rightly mentioned, although we identify ourselves, Mahaprabhu actually is connected with the Madhva Sampradaya, but there are some differences between existing Madhva Sampradaya, which is basically based in Udupi, and our Gaudiya Sampradaya. So sometimes there are discussions like this, but ultimately everything, becomes clarified. Any other?
Продолжение этого момента, что, насколько мне известно, что есть параматма, ну, изначально, да, когда человек, но она просто
I will go there.
наблюдает и дозволяет. Это как бы состояние до начала духовной практики.
Sanatan thinks a lot. No, go ahead.
Но со временем начала духовной практики человек медитирует на определенного Господа, и вместо уже параматмы проявляется либо Господь Рамачандра, и человек уходит в Айодхью, душа возвращается в Айодхью, либо Кришна, тогда на руку Вриндавана, либо может Мадхуру или Двару. То есть по-разному параматма начинает, Кришна, Господь появляется по-разному через параматму.
He's telling, and continuing with that questions, he's telling that before spiritual life, Paramatma just just looking and allowing him something. After starting spiritual life, Paramatma starts to appear. То есть Параматма проявляет какую-то форму Бога или как?
Ну да, появляется уже, начинает более проявляться личностный и становится либо, в зависимости от изначальных отношений с Богом. Кого-то ближе к Рамачандре, кого-то к Кришне.
So the Paramatma after starting spiritual life start to appear some form of the God that like Atma has some relationship with God, like with Ramachandra or Krishna or Simhadev, and the Paramatma starts to appear their eternal relationship. That's why someone's go to Ayodhya, or if it's a relationship with Krishna to Goloka.
Right. Yes. Well, Paramatma, who is Kshirodakshay Vishnu, there's Garbhodakshay Vishnu, there's Mahavishnu, Karanadakshay Vishnu, these Vishnus. So through Paramatma is the Kshirodakshay Vishnu. From him actually all different incarnations do appear in the material world. And in course of time, yes, one may be just like we have Ram Bhaktas, Shringa Bhaktas, this Bhakta, that Bhakta. So that becomes revealed in due course of time where one has a particular affiliation or attraction, and that is there, but it still remains a fact that in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, we give primary focus and attention on Krishna. And even we may be attracted to Lord Ramachandra or Nrsingadev or other such incarnations. We understand it's a whole big subject matter of tattva. We understand that. We're reading this particular chapter is speaking and establishing this point. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Yeah. That we were reading this verse just yesterday, and I'll just read it again because it's so important. What is it? It begins with, that's a long purport that Prabhupada has given. Where is it? Yeah. Ete samsakala pumsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam lokam vridayanti yuge yuge. Yeah. So this verse, especially after mentioning all of the different incarnations, establishes that Krishna is the original personality. But yes, we have different natures, we have different rasa, we have different attractions, and that is at a much higher elevated level. Our initial level of consciousness is to attend Mangalarti.
Гуру говорит, да, у нас как бы могут быть разные отношения с Богом и так далее, но это как бы слишком высокий уровень. Наша сейчас задача это прийти на Мангаларе.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the bodies they get all entangled in these things, and then they can't even chant their 16 rounds. So, yeah.
That's why Srila Prabhupada in 10th canto, 10th canto, 13th chapter, text 53 in the purport, he's telling that our level is wake up early and taking baths.
Yeah, correct.
Mangalarati is our level.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, means sadhana. Yeah, sadhana bhakti. Most conditioned souls, they become sadhana siddha. Yeah, they become liberated. They become siddhas through sadhana. So we especially give importance to sadhana, and then gradually, yeah, getting some. So I think we can close now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Apimanandi.
His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Swami Maharaj ki
Jai.